Hey guys, it's Mike 2 from Orchard Trailers. Now I'm going to bring you a 2019 Rockwood Roo 233S hybrid. This one is going home pretty soon. I'm going to do a nice walkthrough on it and show you how things work. As you can see here, I have it closed up. The slide is out, but the bunk ends are all closed. So you can see what it looks like when it's closed up, how you'll be able to still use the space in here. And then when you're ready to use it in just a minute, I'm gonna go and open the ends up. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I just went outside. I pulled the two latches on the front of the doors and let them down. Now this is how you're gonna put the bunks up. So I'm gonna reach under here. I'm gonna grab this pole. Careful not to hit anybody with it. This pole is going to go into this little black clip down here. And we're gonna push this out. Sometimes it's easier to do this with a window open or a door open. And that's just gonna hook into one of these up here. Now there are 3 different settings here, so as this thing stretches and contracts, you're gonna be able to tighten it with that. All right, our netting here, these are clips and they're adjustable. This is kind of good for teddy bears and clothes storage and things like that, wherever the kids want to put up there. The mattress is heated. It does have Velcro here, so it will go out a little farther. All right, so there's your bed. So this bed is heated. There's a nodule over on this side over here, and there's a 110 outlet down bottom. What I'll do is when I get around to a drawer, I'll show you what that module looks like and tell you how it works. We also have a lantern that hangs up here. There are 3 of these in this camper, 1 for each bunk. This goes 2 ways. Plugs in here for power, and it either hangs with the 2 clips here, or it hangs like this. You have a light, and then you have a 2-speed fan. So on this bunk end, every window here unzips. So we have zippers that fold, the canvas comes down, give you some fresh air moving through. The window on the back here is going to be an emergency exit window. So the screen also unzips on that one. So if there's ever an emergency, you can't make it to that door over there, you can get right out of here. Over on this side, we're going to have a couch that actually doubles as a bed. So this spins. As you're spinning it out, this leg will come out for support. Put that down and you've got a bed. All right, up top we've got a couple cabinets that go right through. We've got our window. Most of the windows in this camper are going to twist open, like so. Just back up, pull that leg out, put that in, pulls right back into place. And then we have some storage underneath. And you have some supplies in there, your griddle, your table, a few things are in there. And on this side we have some more cabinet space, a couple cubbies over here. Each one of these bunks also has a curtain that comes across. This is just Velcroed back, and that'll give some privacy. They'll meet in the middle. Moving up farther, we have a fire extinguisher here. We have our door. So our door has a couple cool features to it. Our door opens here, pulls shut here, and this is a red lock. It's a deadbolt lock, if you will. So this door, when it's open, this separates. This pushes across, so you keep your bugs out. All right. It also has a new feature this year called the screenshot. So when you leave this open, that's going to shut it for you, kind of like a screen door at home. And then in the door, we also have a shade that just goes up and down. On your main control panel, you have little buttons here for battery, fresh tank, black tank, and gray tank. Battery, as it gets weak, it's going to come down. Fresh, black, and gray, as they get full, they're going to go up. Over here, we're going to have a hot water heater, electric. And I'll show you the second switch to flip for that on the outside. Gas, you're going to have propane only. Below that, we're going to have our water pump. So a water pump is only used when you bring water with you. So if you go to a campsite and you have city water connection, you have a hose coming to the camper, don't use this. That will burn out the pump if there's nothing in the fresh tank. This is meant to be used if you are camping and you don't have hookups. So you have to bring your water with you to the campground. All right, moving down, we have our slide, in or out. Right now the slide is out, so I'm gonna let you hear what it sounds like when it's all the way in. That rattle means stop. It's all the way in. Very important to make sure before you bring that slide in that you make sure your TV is out of the way. I'll get back to that in a minute. So our awning, extend or retract, in or out. Down below we have an interior switch. So this interior switch turns the main lights off in here, except for those two back by the back bunk. These are also touch lights. So you can walk over and you can touch them and turn them off individually. All right, coming back to the panel, we have our porch light here. That's for your amber light outside. Next to that, we have our awning light. So that'll be the LED light underneath the awning. That's on or off. And then we have our Wi-Fi booster. So the Wi-Fi booster does two things. First and foremost, it is a booster of a Wi-Fi signal. Secondly, you can make it a LTE hotspot with a SIM card and a subscription from your cell phone provider. If you choose to use it, all of your information is right here. You just want to log into this IP and the password, and then that will pick up that signal for you. Over here on the slide, first and foremost, we're going to have a touch light here. So there's a little switch on the side. These cabinets open, and that goes all the way through. On the slide, there are two different types of windows. The end windows have tabs. They go up and down. They don't tilt out like the traditional windows. One of the main reasons for that is because when you bring the slide in, if you forgot to tilt that window back in, you're going to rip it right off. All right. Those go up and down. The one behind the table is an emergency exit window. So if you ever get into a situation where you can't make it to that door over there for some reason, this is tabbed under. Flip it with your thumb. This pushes out. Pull that red triangle off. Get that screen off here. Push the window and get out. All right. This red tab also has a notch on it, so you can leave that window open a little bit farther. All right. And coming back in, sometimes they get hung up on that rivet. You just want to wiggle them a little bit. All right. Moving down to our dinette. This is the 80-inch king-size U-shaped dinette. It is great for families. It's awesome for an adult to sleep in if you need that extra sleeping space. It's also great for what they call turtling. So if you have to sleep in here, can't open the ends, you can actually use this for a bed. It will fit an adult. Just take these cushions off. The table is not fixed to the floor, so this will move wherever we want. When you're ready to travel or sleep someone here, you want to put this table down. So first thing I would tell you to do, take one of these cushions off, if not both of the cushions here. So when this table comes down, it has to rest on these cleats. Every time it's going to hang up on one or both of those cushions, and you're going to fight it. So make your life a lot easier. Take one of the cushions up, possibly the second one if you want. To put the table down, this yellow tab pulls out to the side. I put my foot right here on. It's going to come out and around. So I'm going to pull it. It's going to drop right down into place. I'm going to wiggle it a little bit. Get it up on those back feet back there and the side feet here. There is Velcro on 2 of the 4 feet. That's going to keep it from sliding on you. So when you're traveling down the road, it's not falling out and sliding and hitting your furniture and things like that. All right. Pulling it back up is not always as easy. I'll get to that in a second. All right, so we're going to put this cushion back in. Fill in the middle with these 2 back cushions, and now you have your bed. If you have somebody that's really tall, you can always pull these out of the way so they have a little bit more leg room. When you're ready to put this back up, sometimes this table has been known to fight you. Usually it comes up and around just like it went down, but sometimes the back of the table doesn't always pick up for you. So again, it's a little bit of a stretch, but I put my foot on the base and I pick it up. And I got to grab it by the back, pop it right up into place. and that's done. Below the booth, you're going to have a door and a drawer. So this is storage under here. On this side, this is a drawer. In here, we have those modules I was telling you about. It goes to the bed. So these modules, they have the oval that goes into the bed, then they have the 110 that goes into the outlet. On them, we have 0 to 6. So 0 to 6. Right, all the way up. What I've been told by everybody that uses these is they take about half hour to 45 minutes to heat up fully. So give them a little bit of time. Let them heat up. Turn them on half an hour, 45 minutes before you go to bed, and they should be ready to go by the time you get there. One more thing about this U-shaped dinette. Underneath these cushions, there's plywood that picks up. That is true all the way around. So you can load that drawer, you can load in underneath here, you can load from the top down, and then when we get outside, there's a door on the outside that you can load in from the back. So you got a lot of storage options with this booth. Again, while I'm right here, the TV. So this TV wiggles out like this. All right, now this will come off the wall. Pops up out of the wall like that. All right, I can't stress enough to make sure before you bring this slide in that you take this TV down, because it will rip it right off the wall. All right, so we're going to tuck it in, push it back, and it snaps right into place for you. Same thing goes for this tray here. So this is kind of like a laptop or workstation, if you will. There's a charging center in here with 2 USBs and a 12 volt. And your remote are here in this case. This again has to be closed before the slide can come in. And then just below that, we have a 110 outlet, and we have a little cubby here. Behind the TV, we have a couple different things you'll need to know. So satellite connection from receivers. If you have a satellite from your campground, or you put a satellite dish on this, you'll need to bring it in here, out to a receiver, and then back into this auxiliary satellite over here. Your main thing you're going to be using is this TV antenna here. So the antenna that's on the roof comes into here. This little black switch is your antenna booster. So that, when it's green, is going to be the antenna on the roof. If you turn it off, that's going to switch over to cable or satellite, whatever you have here. Next to that, we have another outlet for your TV and a spare. Back here, you can see that mount system where the TV goes in. TV's actually right here, so you can see the mounts. And then this is the claw that locks it into place. For our radio, we have our power button here. The power button will also be a mute button. If you push it once, that mutes your radio. If you hold it, it turns the radio off. All right, we'll turn that back on. All right, we have our radio station up top. We have zones 1 and 2. This one doesn't have a 3 active. 1 is inside, 2 is outside. We have presets here for the radio. Just hold those buttons and they'll preset. We have a CD, DVD player, not a Blu-ray, and eject. We have rewind and fast forward. We have skip chapters. We have pause and play and stop. So pause and play will preset all of your channels based on the strongest signals in the area. The fast forward and rewind chapters will scan, and then the rewind and fast forward will just skip individual frequencies. So your Bluetooth is going to say no link when you are not connected. Once you connect your cell phone to this radio, it should be an IRV32 or 66, one of those. It will say Bluetooth link, and you can play your Pandora or your Amazon or your Spotify, whatever you got. Alright, and then we have TV audio. Typically TV audio never works as TV audio. It's usually TV audio 2 nowadays. Front audio is going to be something coming in from the front of the radio. HDMI in is going to be this guy over here. And TV audio 2 is usually where that TV audio comes through. Now we have 2 AMs and 3 FM channels. So if you're going to different campsites, you can preset them to that particular campground, and then you don't have to keep changing them every time you go. Your clock button, if you hold this, clock's going to flash. You can adjust with this knob. push it in to change the minutes, adjust, and then hit clock again. You're all set to go. The BT, that'll work as a dimmer. So if we hold this button in, your screen will dim. Hold it in, it'll dim again, and one more time we'll bring it to full bright. Of course, we got an auxiliary in here in case you have a iPod that's older with no Bluetooth. You can plug right into that. You have a HDMI here and a 5-volt USB to charge your phone. For the fridge, you have a thumb tab to open the freezer. Have a thumb tab to open the fridge. Alright, in here we have an on-off switch. That's going to turn the power on. So this fridge will work as two-way fridge. Alright, one way being propane, one way being electric. It doesn't run on battery power, just propane or electric. Alright, so in the freezer, these are adjustable shelves. In the fridge, we have a slide here on the last fin. It says warmer or colder. You just slide this fin up and down. If it seems to be too warm, just slide it up a little higher. If things start to freeze in your fridge, you want to slide it down a little bit. To control this fridge, again, on-off up top here, we have auto or we have gas. So auto is going to look for electric first. If you don't have electric power, it's going to look for gas. If you can't find either, it's going to flash a light at you. This light's going to come on up here and say, hey, I need help. So if you're at home and you're plugged in to an outlet or to 30 amp service, you'll have it on auto. It's going to run on electric. And then if you get to the campsite and you don't have electric, you're going to want to just push this button out, let it go to gas, make sure your propane bottles are open, and that'll run for you. These just snap into place so things don't fall out traveling down the highway. Below the fridge we have our converter box. In here we have our main 30 amp breaker. All the other breakers are labeled down. And then on this side we have all of our fuses. So our fuses all have a red light next to them on the board. So whatever one goes bad, the red light's going to light up, you're going to be able to see it. And these are standard automotive style fuses. So you can get them at any auto parts store. Alright, if that red light should light up, you'll also be able to see it through this window here. And this has two cooling fans. You can kind of hear them running now to keep that board from overheating. To the right of the converter, you're going to have your LP and carbon monoxide detector. That detector is hardwired into your battery. So if this thing starts to chirp like a dying smoke detector, that means your battery out front is going dead, and you probably won't have many lights in here, so you'll already know at that point that you really need to charge, plug in, or run it behind the car. If it screams at you, you'll want to get out of here. That means you either have a carbon monoxide leak or a propane leak. You want to get out. In the kitchen, we're going to have a microwave up top. Microwave's really simple, really straightforward. Doesn't have a lot of fancy features, but it does have a glass dish inside, a rotating tray, that if you go on long trips, I suggest taking that out because it will bounce and probably break. Your range hood does have a light and a fan. That will vent outside. When we get outside, I'll show you how to open that up and vent this out. Your mini blind back here is a traditional blind. We can't have a pleated blind behind a stove and a sink. It just wouldn't go well. Alright. Back behind the stove is a knife block. So there's a couple slots in there where you can put your big kitchen knives so you're not taking up counter space with a knife block. The glass on top of the stove works first and foremost as a prep space. So if you want to prep on that when you're ready to cook, we just flip this back, flip that up. We have a 3-burner stove under here. We have an igniter. We also have a lighter. So when we turn this to light, we're going to light our grill. I don't have any gas in here, so that's not going to work for us today, but there are 3 burners there. The oven, Rockwood runs this big, beautiful 22-inch oven. What I've learned is we finally got an igniter, and I found a trick. So if you open this door to about 45 degrees, you can see the element underneath this shelf. That really helps. You don't have to hang upside down. You don't have to light it like you used to do in the old days. So what we're going to do is there's a little tricky spot here. It says piled on. You're going to hold this button in while you hit the igniter. I can see right here that spark is going. When that actually lights under there, you're going to want to hold this button in for a few seconds. Let that thermocoupler heat up. It takes about 5-10 seconds, and then you can turn the stove on. Then you can crank it around, and the numbers are on the back of this for your temperature. Below the stove, there is a drawer for pots and pans. Over here on this side, we have two different covers for your sink. We have one that can be used as a drying rack, and then we have one that can be used as a cutting board or just more prep space. Down below, I have a cabinet, I have a soap storage, and then I have a drawer. Silverware tray in there. I have another door down here for storage, and then I have your cold air return for your furnace down here. Next to that, we have our pantry. And then we have storage below the pantry here. And of course we have our bathroom. Alright, so here on the bunk on the opposite side of the camper, we're going to have a couple features that you need to know about. So right here there's a backer built in to put a TV arm if you ever want to mount a TV here. Just below that on the bottom there's going to be your satellite in and your antenna in to feed up to that, to give you your antenna signal or your satellite signal. And there's an outlet down there too. Below me there's going to be a couple cabinets, a couple cabinet doors here. And then in the back here we're going to have your other bunk. In our back bunk, it's similar to all the others. We do have a little bit of storage here with this netting. We'll have an outlet over there for the module where you plug in your heater. It's going to be just like the rest of the bunks otherwise. On the wall in the hallway by the two back bunks, there is your thermostat. So this one runs on cool. That's your air conditioner. We set our temperature to where we want it, and I'll come on for you. If you go to fan, that's going to run the air conditioner, but it's not going to run the cooling element. It's just going to run the fan. When you're on fan, you use these switches over here. So these switches over here are auto and on. Auto will run your fan until it reaches your temperature and turn it off. On will run it forever until you turn it off. Off is going to turn all the systems off. And then heat in this thing is gas only. So it's going to be propane. You have to have your propane on. You flip that on, your heat will fire up and then set it to your desired temperature. In the bathroom, we have a shower. The shower is glass. It will break. Be careful with it. For travel, we have these two knobs here. So these two knobs are your travel latch. So this rubber piece pulls off. This pulls apart. You open your door to your shower. Alright, there is a little metal magnet here on the edge of the glass that will come off from time to time. Just pop it back on. Alright, in your shower up top we have a skylight that is just for light. It does not open. Alright, coming down we have your shower head. So your shower head has a water saver feature, that little button on top there. You want to get wet, click it off, lather up, click it back on and rinse off. Over here we have a wet dry bag for hanging your stuff, let it dry out. Shelves. And then we have our water saver feature. So this is a little bit different than probably anything you've ever seen. So when you're ready to take your shower, you would turn these knobs on to where you would think your temperature would like to be. Alright, we're going to turn this up facing towards you, and it's going to send the water back to your fresh water tank. When that water gets to your desired temperature, this is going to change a different color and say, hey, I'm ready. And then you flip down and the water comes through your shower hose and into your shower. Pretty cool system. Alright, and then down bottom there is a drain plug in this shower. It makes me really nervous because if you ever step on that and close it and flood this camper out, you're going to have a lot of issues. So be careful with that, please. Moving down in the front of the shower, I like to joke that this is the heated shower. This is a heater duct for the bathroom here. You can also take those two screws off and get to the plumbing if you ever need to. Next to that is going to be our toilet. So we have a foot flush right here. And then in here, we're just going to step on that pedal and that's going to send everything down for you. Up here on the wall we're going to have our light switch. We're going to have a nice big linen closet in here. Up above we're going to have our max air fan. So our max air fan will move 920 cubic feet of air a minute. So the really cool thing about this fan is when we open it up, there's a black cap, but there's also another cap over that cap to keep the rain out. So you can leave this one open to move some air through here. You don't have to worry about the wind and the rain getting inside. But this does have a couple buttons here for speed. So let's start at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. That pulls a lot of air. And then that'll turn it off. You can also turn it off with this button here that says fan off. So when you bring this cap down, it's going to bounce a little bit. They all do that. Once it's down, you have the option to push this button up and lock it if you don't want the kids playing in it or something like that. Back over here, we have our medicine cabinet, we have our sink, and we have our storage underneath the sink. One thing I really want to tell you about is this outlet here. There's a GFI outlet. That's the inside. Let's go take a look at the outside. I'll be right back. Out in the front, you've got your hot water heater. This just opens up. And here we're going to have blow off valve, a reset button. Underneath here is the on-off switch. That's how you're going to turn this thing on, and that's how it runs on electric. You use gas inside. Alright, and then the anode rod here, this nut, that is a rod that's built in to protect the tank. That will need to be changed once a year, and that's how you also drain out the hot water. Just below the hot water heater is the solar plug-in. It's going to be ready for 20 amps. It's just going to trickle charge your battery. It's not going to run the whole camper. Below that is going to be your legs. So these are just stabilizer legs. Please don't tighten them up. Don't lift the camper with them. Just snug them down to the ground gently, and they keep it from shaking when you're moving around in there. Moving down, we have a hole in the skirt here. So there is a wrench inside that will crank in that slide should you ever get into an emergency situation. You can't get it to pull back in. And then underneath here is your pass-through storage. So this is going to have your grill, your table, your power cord all inside. And that is a magnetic hold. Up above we have speakers. We have your door. We have that range hood I was telling you about. So that range hood opens up here and here. The flap to let the air out. And it pushes back up to close. Got 2 speakers out here, and you've got an LED light underneath your awning. Your TV also will hang right here when you bring it outside. Below that is the rail for your grill and your table to go on. Moving down is your black tank flush. So that will flush out your black tank if you ever have an issue with it clogging or being full and you can't get it to empty. You have power and antenna cable carryover. And then down below, you have your LP disconnect for the grill. You also have a low point drain up underneath the skirt here, behind the skirt where that sticker is. Now for the awning, you'll want to grab this, pull it down to here, and tighten this little screw. That'll hold it in place for a rain dump should you be out here on a rainy day, and that'll run the water off for you. Just be careful when you unscrew and let it go. There is a gas shock, and that will snap this awning up. And then make sure this is loose before you pull the awning back. On the back of the camper, we have our spare tire. We have a cubby to get in under the back bunk. Underneath the bunk on the opposite side, we have an outdoor shower. Down low, we have your hookups, your dumps here. So, black tank is on the right, looking at this view. Gray tank is right here in front of me. So you always want to dump your black first, and then dump your gray to wash out the hose. Moving forward, we're going to have a fridge vent here. That's the back of your fridge. We're going to have our fresh water fill here. That's if you have to bring water with you and you don't have a hookup at the campground. We have our power cord. And then we have cable and satellite in from the campground. on the slide, we have that door I was telling you about. So in this door, we have your power cord. We have lots of space in here. So inside, that goes all the way underneath by the drawer. And over here, it goes over behind the door. Going up front, we have all of your VIN, tire pressure, tire size, and rim size information. When you're at the campground and they have water, you can plug right into here. It's on demand. And then your antifreeze inlet. So when you've gone in behind the hot water heater and you've turned off the hot and cold and opened the bypass, you want to put a little hose in your bottle of antifreeze, flip on the pump, and that'll suck it right in. Make sure your faucet and your shower are open, and they'll pull it right through. All right, up front here, we're gonna have our power tongue jack. There is a light, and there's up and down. There is also this piece here that comes off, and there's a wrench inside that'll crank this up if you get into a jam. Propane tanks are connected. We have a regulator in the center here that will go left or right. So there's a little arrow on there. Now on this side, pointing to the other bottle, that'll tell you which bottle you're using. You can run it straight down and use both bottles at the same time, but I don't really recommend that because that will drain both bottles and you have none left. It's easier if you just run one bottle. When that's empty, go fill it. Use this one in the meantime. Underneath the propane bottles, there's a master disconnect key. We are in the on position right now. You spin this down and it comes out. That is in the off position. You're going to want to use this to charge your batteries. Alright, so if that's in the on position while you're plugged into your car going down the highway, or you're plugged into the campsite, this is going to let your batteries charge. If it's turned off, it won't charge your batteries. You're also going to want to turn this off if you're not going to be in this camper for a couple weeks, because the batteries will drain down from sitting in that little green light in the radio and things like that running. Now, when you're ready to put the bunk ends away to go home, what you want to do, nice secret here, turn on the fan overhead. That'll pull some of the air in, help you pull the canvases in and make it a little bit easier on you. So we're going to want to take this bed, we're going to pull this back to the black line here. I'm going to take this pole down, and this pole and the framework are going to both go underneath this bed. Your choice whether you loosen this up or not. You can do it either way you want. Alright, and then we're going to go outside and finish closing it up. Here, I pull this up, pull these corners in, lift up. You want to make sure that your canvas is all tucked in and not pinched. And then flip these latches. You're done. That's it. Alright, that's it for my walkthrough of the 2019 Rockwood Roo 233S. Thanks for watching. I hope you like it. Be sure to subscribe.